We are introduced to Wikas, who works at Mkandawie, which is a department of alien affairs. He is being interviewed about his job, and the movie is a documentary-style series of interviews. In the year 1982, an alien ship arrives above Johannesburg, South Africa. It hovered above the city for 3 months without any contact. Eventually, humans take the initiative and cut into the ship. Inside, they discover a large group of aliens who are malnourished and sick. The aliens are called prawns, who are more than 1 million in numbers, were shifted on Earth in a camp. The slum area where they started living was militarized and called District 9. 20 years have passed, and aliens cannot go back to their planet and live separately from humans. A video shows part of the ship falling to Earth, but nobody has been able to find it, leaving the ship still hovering and inoperable. Many weapons were found with the prawns, and people of the city did riots asking government to remove them. Prawns eat anything they can get their hands on, and now are being shifted to a new location. At the Mkandawie headquarters, Wikas tells us that they are moving 1.8 million aliens to a new camp, District 10, located 240 kilometers from Johannesburg. At the meeting, Wikas's father-in-law Smit makes him head of the task to get the eviction notice signed by prawns. Wikas introduces us to Trent, who is a new employee and will accompanying him to District 9. They are being accompanied by security force, which is being led by Kubus for protection. Wikas and his team leave and arrive at District 9 in multiple vehicles. Wikas goes to one of house and asks the prawn there to sign the notice, who doesn't sign and throws it away. Wikas considers it as signed and goes to a new house and offers cat food as bribe to sign the papers. We are told that prawns love cat food, and a group of Nigerians, primarily led by Mumbo, operates a black market. They sell cat food to prawns in exchange of weapons and money. In the next house, Wikas finds a prawn nest, and they destroy the eggs by burning it. Wikas finds weapons in a house, and we are told that Mkandawie's main objective is to collect prawns' weapons. Mkandawie is the largest weapon producer in the world, but are unable to use prawn weapons as only prawns can use them. Next, we see a prawn named Chris, who is searching for something in junkyard when his son gives him something. Chris goes to a lab and extracts a mysterious liquid from a device and says his plan is complete after 20 years. They hear the Mkandawie coming, and Chris stores the liquid in a container and tells the prawn to hide it and talk to Mkandawie. Wikas comes to the house and finds the prawn is not cooperative, so he decides to investigate for weapons. Wikas finds the secret lab and begins his search and finds the container, which was hidden. While looking at the container, he accidentally releases some black liquid on his face. He collects the container as evidence and also finds many weapons in another room. Wikas brings a gun outside to inquire about it to the prawn, who gets scared and attacks Wikas. He throws Wikas away, and the military come and shoots the prawn, killing him. Wikas has injured his hand badly and gets some treatment done on it. Chris comes back to his home and asks his son to go outside and play. Wikas comes there and asks Chris to sign the eviction notice, but Chris refuses to do so. Wikas realizes Chris is smart and blackmails him that he will take his son away unless he signs. Suddenly, Wikas' health worsens and he vomits, and they decide to leave from there. Wikas feels hungry and decides to eat at a place, but notices that black liquid is coming out of his nose. After arriving back at office, Wikas still feels dizzy and notices that his nails are also coming off. At night, Chris and his son try to find the container, but are unable to do so. We are told that Nigerians gang kill and eat prawns, thinking they will get their powers to use the weapons. Wikas comes home and finds a surprise party is arranged for his promotion. Smit tells Wikas to do his job properly since many prawns were killed today. While cutting the cake, Wikas is still feeling unwell and he vomits black liquid on cake and faints. He is rushed to a hospital where a doctor discovers his left arm has metamorphosed into that of a prawn's. Wikas is shocked to see this, and the doctor calls the military to take Wikas away. The military forcefully put Wikus in a bag and tell his wife Tanya to be calm and take him away. Wikus is taken to a lab where the docs run some tests and find the container in his jacket. Wikus is then taken to a lab where experiments are done on prawns, and he is shocked to see this. The doctors come to know his DNA has been altered to the point that he can operate the alien's weapons with both his alien hand and human hand. They torture Wikus and test different weapons and even kill a prawn with it. The doctors come to know that Wikus is slowly turning into a prawn and they need to harvest his body. Smith agrees to this procedure since they need to replicate his in other humans, so they can use weapons. Wikus begs Smith to let him go, but he refuses and even lies to his own daughter that the infection has spread. When the doctors are about to kill Wikus, he manages to free himself and uses a knife to let him go free and escapes from there. Wikus goes to his house but finds military is already there and even tries to call his wife. He goes to a restaurant to eat something but finds that fake news is being shown that he had sex with prawns. The news says he has contracted a disease which can be spread and declares Wikus is very dangerous. Wikus tries to explain his situation, but everyone is scared on seeing this and runs away from there. Wikus decides to hide in District 9 and spends the night in an empty house. In the morning, Wikus goes to buy some cat food, and while eating it finds he is losing his teeth. Tanya calls Wikus and tells him she is leaving him, and Wikus decides to cut his arm to be with her. Wikus sees that the military has found him, and he goes to hide in a house. He finds Chris and his son there and sees some data being sent on a computer and faints. Chris sees his hand and decides to help him and takes him in an underground shelter. When Wikus wakes up, Chris asks him about the container, who tells him that it is in the lab. Wikus is shocked to find that hidden part of the ship was in the basement, and they are trying to fly out of here. Chris tells Wikus that he can fix his hand since he has medical devices on the mothership. Chris says they need the black liquid to start the ship and fly to the mothership. Wikus asks him to make new liquid, but Chris says they cannot make new liquid since it took 20 years to create the earlier one. Chris says they need to go to the lab to get the liquid since Wikus does not have much time. At night, Wikus sees his body is also changing into a prawn and calls Tanis to tell her he has found a way to fix himself. In the morning, Wikus tells Chris that he has decides to help him and knows a way to buy weapons. Wikus goes to the Nigerians and asks them to sell him weapons, but they take him to their leader Mumbo. Mumbo sees his arm and tells him men to cut the arm and give it to him. Wikus tries to escape and finds an alien gun and uses his to kill them and escapes from there. Mumbo says he will get his arm anyhow and eat it and gain its powers. Wikus and Chris attack the MNU office and go inside to find the container and reach the lab. They find the container, but Chris is shocked to see the experiments being done on prawns. Kobos and his team attack them and Chris makes a bomb to escape from there. They use a car to reach District 9 and go to the house with underground basement. Chris tells Wikus that it will take 3 years to fix his hand and he must use this opportunity to save his own people. Wikus gets angry on hearing this and hits Chris and goes down to the basement. Wikus tells the small prawn that they need to get out here, and Kubus comes there looking for Wikus. Wikus uses his hand to activate the ship and flies it out of the ground. Kubus orders an attack on the ship which destroys it and crashes it. Chris is captured and Kubus goes to the ship and captures Wikus also. The Nigerians attack the military vehicle and kidnap Wikus and bring him to Mumbo. A battle between the MNU soldiers and Mumbo's gang breaks out. When Wikus' arm is about to be chopped off, Christopher's son activates several systems in the mothership, including a robot battle suit. The robot battle suit slaughters Mumbo and his men after they fire on it. The mothership activates and starts moving, and all prawns come out and see this. Wikus sees Churs is being tortured by Kubus and enters the robot battle suit. He uses the suit to kill the soldiers and rescues Chris, and decides to take him to the ship. Kubus and his team attack them, and Wikas protects Chris. After his suit gets damaged, Wikas tells Chris to go without him and take his son to the ship. Chris promises Wikas that he will return in 3 years to repair his body. Wikas fights the soldiers, and Chris returns to his home and activates a tractor beam. The beam starts pulling the small ship to the mothership. Kubus shoots a rocket towards the ship, but Wikas stops the attack and saves him. Kubus destroys the suit, and Wikas tries to crawl from there. When Kubus is about to shoot, Wikas' other prawns come there and kill Kubus. Chris activates the mothership and leaves Earth, and all humans cheer for him. Wikas is happy to see Chris leave, and people believe that Wikas is dead or captured by MNU. Wikas' coworker Trent hacks MNU's database and publicly exposes their illegal genetic experiments. We are told that the prawns are successfully moved to District 10, which now has a population of 2.5 million and is growing. Wikas' wife Tanya says he reveals a small metal rose was left on her doorstep and believes Wikas left her this. Lastly, we see a prawn with a bandaged left arm in a junkyard, making a rose out of scrap metal. We believe this is Wikas, who is now completely transformed in a prawn.